Lernerville Speedway tends to be fairly top dominant early in the night. Starts and restarts on the bottom can cost you a spot or two until you can fight your way back up into the top groove. As the track deteriorates, right along the front stretch wall tends to get fairly rough, which can really upset the car getting into turn 1. And also watch for drivers to struggle staying on the racing surface as the top groove gets closer and closer to the edge of the track, because it can really send you for a ride.
Laps to go into 3 and 4. Plank really trying to keep Isley pinched down. Isley got to be careful not to catch that inside wall. He's so low up coming off of Porter. 4 down into 1 and 2. Plank's going to nose ahead. Down the back straightaway now. Looks like Plank is going to clear Isley. Isley trying to find some daylight as they work underneath in 3 and 4. Well, Porter goes to the high side trying to make something happen to catch these top 2.
3 to go at the line. Porter is fast, but he can't get the grip off the corner, and he is going to be looking high down the back straightaway. Isley right to the tail of Brandon Plank. Porter is still there, though. 2 to go at the line, and I would give this one to Plank this time, with Porter making a big charge, and he might have something to say about it down the backstretch.
Down the back straightaway. Look at the outside move. That time not as good on the exit of 2 was Porter. Porter through 3 and 4, though, he's found something. Beagle trying to find something on the outside as well. 2 laps to go in this one.
They bring us to the white flag. Here we go into turns 1 and 2. Porter all the way to the top of the racetrack, looking for a little bit of extra grip for that number 18 car. The 18 on the bottom. He follows Plank in. Porter sends it as hard as he can, and out of turn number 4, the first checkered flag of the season, and $117 to Brandon Plank. The Pete Costco Memorial is going to go to car number 51 out on the track with a great run for 2 18 cars rounding out the podium.
Lernerville Speedway tends to be fairly top dominant early in the night. Starts and restarts on the bottom can cost you a spot or two until you can fight your way back up into the top groove. As the track deteriorates, right along the front stretch wall tends to get fairly rough, which can really upset the car getting into turn 1. And also watch for drivers to struggle staying on the racing surface as the top groove gets closer and closer to the edge of the track, because it can really send you for a ride.
Race 2, the rhythm of the season sets in. Targets start appearing on the backs of competitors. No more anticipation from the preseason. Race 1 opens things up. Race 2 is where the test begins, and Race 2 begins now. Welcome, everyone, back to BRPtv for the RKR West Penn 60 tonight. The stars and cars of the BRP iRacing series travel to Sarver, Pennsylvania to do battle at the 4/10 mile oval, Lernerville Speedway. Joe Donahue here alongside Jonathan Howe for the show tonight. We are super excited to have you here with us live on BRPtv. Brandon Plank took the win last week, holding off a charging field of tough competition. This track is a little different than last week's, Jonathan, but all these other guys still have a fire under their seats to go get their first win of this season. So what's it going to take for someone to do it here?
You know, I think the biggest thing is going to be, is it small block or big block tonight? Because we're almost at half the field tonight in small blocks versus the big blocks. This is a true big block, small block battle. And I'm looking at guys like Matt DeRitter, who's going back to back with the small block on the right out of the gate of the season. That seems like a good move. Obviously, my podcast co-host on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. I'll be keeping an eye on Travis Cunningham. Ryan Beagle also. How does he do? He had a pretty good run in a big block last week. I think it's going to be a lot of big block versus small block talk the entire night, honestly.
Yeah, this is definitely a race that I think we're going to be talking about that more so at. Lernerville's a very unique racetrack, sort of the way that, at least compared to last week, it's going to probably be a little more top dominant for a longer period of time. We had a really great race at Volusia last week. Brandon Plank was able to bring it home, but I know we've talked about it before we got here this week for the race, Jonathan, that the bottom line doesn't really do much when it comes to big blocks here, but maybe the small blocks are going to get a hold of it. But this racetrack should kind of segregate them a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real test of who can push it to the outside and make that outside work the longest. And if somebody breaks through on the bottom side, how much advantage is that? You know, we saw last week, it seemed like at first the bottom line was not where you wanted to be. It was the top side, and the track changed. But obviously we're not going 117 laps tonight, so that also plays a factor as well. And already what I'm looking at, just how tight the times are in practice. I mean, the top 20 all within the 15-second bracket, so it's going to be tight at the top of the field when we do our qualifying and settling who's going to start wearing the heats.
Yeah, it is going to be tight the whole way through it. I think this racetrack is going to keep everybody together a little bit, at least when we talk about big blocks and small blocks, and it should be a good time. This is the first of 5 races in Pennsylvania, which for me, as a Pennsylvania boy, is very exciting. Lernerville's a great racetrack to do it at, and we bring it to you as the RKR West Penn 60, as we are in Western Pennsylvania. RKR, short for Russ King Racing. They are an Integra VP Fuels supplier. They do car assembly out in Ohio and Western Pennsylvania. Their Facebook is Russ King Racing, and we want to thank them for partnering up with the show tonight, because they are putting on what we're going to be seeing as a very exciting show. Ryan Susi there on the screen, making it a little exciting for us here at the end of practice as the clock is going to tick away. And Jonathan, we're going to get to start our second qualifying session of the season, and those are 2 bonus points that could end up making a difference over the course of the season. But qualifying going to start them up, and we'll see who sets off first.
Yeah, Ryan Susi, you're giving us a little display of what can go wrong in a hurry here tonight. You don't want to jump that cushion. You don't want to be off the top side of this racetrack, as we see cars out on the racetrack now. Got the 03 of DeRitter out right now in front of us. Looking pretty strong using the top side. We'll see what he can time in at. And I think this is going to be one of our tightest qualifying sessions of the year, Joe.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I think at this point in the night, the track's young enough, and everybody's going to try to run the same lines. Here's Dylan Davidson. You can see the comparison between where he is on the track versus where DeRitter was. These guys are going to all probably run about the same spot, so it's really going to come down to throttle control to make a difference in qualifying. As the first couple lap times go up, Gavin Isley goes top of the chart just over Dean Meitzler. Dean Meitzler is a Pennsylvania guy, so he's representing his home turf. And Isley gets it a little squirrely at the end of his second lap. That lap will not count, but his first one's pretty good, and he's going to hold on to that lap time. Last time's winner, Brandon Plank, comes out onto the track now, and he puts in an okay lap to go to 8th place.
Yeah, I'm looking at Isley's time, and I'm surprised that he was able to get that quick on the first lap. And now we see Dirty Dave has already gone past that line, and Brandon Plank gets up to the top of the field, and Josh Mbowski is, wow, seriously tight field at the front, all 15 twos amongst the top, 6 drivers now. Insane how tight this qualifying session is already in the evening. I love watching these times. I love watching these drivers try to push and gain every single hundredth of a second, even thousandth of a second could be the difference in some cases. I mean, right now, Higbee in the 97, who's on our screen, he's got it by 2 1,000ths of a second over Brandon Plank for second fastest.
And he goes back to the top of the charts now. His first lap was 1,000th of a second slower than DePetro's, and then he goes up to the top. Here is Travis Miller. They call him the Thriller, one of the big names to watch this season. He goes to 8th quick on that lap. He'll have one more attempt to put a good time in here. That yellow number 22. He is running in a big block tonight, and his second lap time is going to be a little bit slower, 15.533 for him on the second one. So Cody Higbee is going to be acquiring himself 2 bonus points as everybody else has set their lap times. We got 2 guys out here still on the track, and one of them is Pat Reiser. He's the only one going around making practice laps. Something you can do in iRacing that you can't do in real life is just keep going when qualifying is happening. So Pat Reiser just trying to get a little more comfortable with the track as we get ready to move over to the first qualifying session of the night, it's the first qualifying heat of the night, and Cody Higbee is fastest. And let's go ahead, Jonathan. I'll hand it to you, and we will go through the starting grid for our first heat race tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight field, and waiting for this screen to pop up here and get our list.
Yeah, it should be coming up here in a second.
No worries.
Nah, we might not have it. Not sure what's going on. Oh, I think I know what's going on with that. Okay. I don't think we're going to be able to get that up, so I'll read it off real quick for you. Cody Higbee is going to be the pole sitter. Tyler Joshambowski will start to his outside. They're going to roll off right here. You'll see Dean Reynolds in car number 79 on the inside of row number 2. Dean Meitzler to his outside, so the 2 Deans. And then we're going to have on the inside of row number 3, Brian Berger in the 60 car. Then we'll see Jeff Sharp to his outside. Starting in 7th is going to be Matt DeRitter. And 8th will be Double D Dylan Davidson in the blue and black number 73 there. And rounding out the grid is going to be your co-host of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Jonathan, Travis Cunningham.
And he surprised me with this one. I knew that they were putting this Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast car together for us. And wow, that thing looks sharp. I'm stoked to see it actually out onto the racetrack. And Travis texted me a little earlier on. He was like, do you want to see it now? Do you want to wait and be surprised? And yeah, I'm glad I waited because that is a pretty slick looking ride. And Travis in a small block, we'll see what he can do. He was pretty confident that he had a lot more speed to give last week. We'll see what the small block gives him tonight. But our front row getting ready to go. Lights are out on the iRacing pace truck at the front of this one. And we should be coming to the green flag here with Higbee on pole.
We'll have Higbee and Joshambowski thunder out of turn 4. Pace truck's off. 8 laps to do it. Heat race number 1 goes green, and we are underway for the RKR West Penn 60 night. Higbee with a nice run into the corner, kind of slides up across the nose of the 88T. Joshambowski looks to the inside. Will he make a run into turn 3? There's not enough grip in the middle yet.
Yeah, Joshambowski went for the crossover move, went to the bottom. Now he's under fire for that second position as Reynolds is trying to work around the outside in that 79 car. Joshambowski is still committed to the middle, we'll call it, for now. But he's looking a little bit lower into 3 and 4.
Oh, contact!
Contact! That is a tough break for Dean Reynolds as he got just shoved way out, and now up on its lid is that 79 car. And yeah, that was clear what happened there. Slide job gone wrong from Joshambowski. And at the front, still Higbee out front.
Yeah, Higbee's got this one under control pretty well as we've got 2 laps down. Unfortunately, that's going to put Dean Reynolds at the back of the field to start the actual feature race this evening, as he does do the courtesy of getting out of the car and letting everybody continue with the green flag running. Unfortunately, I think we were having trouble for Cunningham, too. He's gone over the berm in the back, and he's going to send it back to the pit area as well. So that's 2 cars out of the first heat race of the night already. As we got 3 laps to go, Higbee is showing the way pretty easily. He's even maybe catching up to maybe put a lap on Jeff Sharp by the end of this.
Yeah, it's an impressive run from Higbee. He showed a lot of speed, obviously, in qualifying with that amazingly quick time, and now backing it up with some serious race pace as well. And we're winding down in this one. 2 laps to go. Higbee out in front. Josh Mbowski at the back, out in second, trying to reel in from the behind. It's almost a full straightaway that Higbee's got. It's crazy how far ahead this 97's gotten already. Final lap now.
Yeah, final lap, a second and a half, now 2 seconds in the middle of the straightaway that Higbee has gapped Tyler Joshambowski. And out of that final corner, Cody Higbee very easily is going to win the first heat race of the night. Joshambowski's going to cross second. Dean Meitzler, Brian Berger will round out the top 4. Those top 4 getting points for the championship. And we'll try to see if we can quickly grab our pole sitter for the race later this evening. And I'll hand him to you, Jonathan. We've got Cody Higbee.
Cody Higbee joining us now. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, well, we'll do this one pretty quick here. Just talk to us about the speed in qualifying and backing it up with some serious race pace. How comfortable are you feeling tonight in that 97?
Yeah, I chose the big block tonight after last week. I had a rough opening with the small block, so looking to turn it around tonight.
Well, it's definitely paying off for you so far. And just talk to us about the decision to go back to the big block. So you talked about the rough first race with that small block. How much confidence does the big block give you in front of, up behind that wheel?
Yeah, it seems like it's the long straightaways that really makes you want to choose a big block. And knowing that I chose it here for Lernerville, you can kind of keep momentum good around here with the big block and banking and stuff.
Awesome. Well, good luck in the feature, and congrats on a good heat and qualifying run so far.
Thank you, guys.
And that is Cody Higbee. Jonathan always doing a great job talking to our guys, bringing them in quickly after they win these heat races. We'll go ahead and bring you heat race number 2, starting on the pole. You see him right there, the 68. He showed us around the track in the pre-stream that did the track walk. That's Dave DiPetro. He'll have Gavin Isley on the outside. That's maybe not the best driver you want to start beside. He's very fast this season already. Travis Miller starting behind in that 22 car. Adam Hilton in the 3A, who is outside that row logistics machine. Then you've got Liam Daniels and Ryan Beagle in row 3. Row 4 is Tyler Pachalski and Pat Reiser, both supporting some new paint. And the Beef, Corby Daniels, is going to round out the grid of 9 for heat race number 2. 8 more laps on the docket. And we send them going. Green flag comes along. And into turn number 1, Isley to the top, DiPetro in the middle. Isley is going to bring momentum, and he's going to take the race lead.
Big run down the backstretch from Isley. Followed right behind him, that 3 ride, and on the first lap, it'll go to Isley. Watching that battle behind him as Travis Miller is now working over the 68 of Dirty Dave. Everybody fighting for the high side in this one early on. And it's almost single file for most of the field as Liam Daniels starting to try to make a move up through the top 5.
Yeah, it is pretty much single file except for Pachalski back here. We'll take a quick second, actually. Why don't we go on board with the 21 car, and you can see just what it takes to run the berm here at Lernerville Speedway. We are in 8th place currently along with Pachalski, and we're trying to see what we can do with Pat Reiser. As this is the front straightaway, it gets kind of bumpy right here, and it'll get bumpier as the night goes on. Up
ahead, it looks like Travis Miller's trying to make a move to the inside, starting to really try to break through the groove, but everybody almost staying in line. Miller's gotten up to third as the battle for the lead is on, as Hilton in the 3 car wants to take advantage of the lead here, maybe.
Isley holding on to the lead just barely over that 3A car. Hilton is all over him, and Hilton's done well here in the past. This could be an opportunity into turn 1 this time. Huge slider incoming. No, he doesn't cut up across the nose. Hilton stays out of the way. Isley's going to power past, and Hilton will have to retain second place as 2 laps to go at the stripe. Is going to be all for the Catfish or the Gas Man, whatever you want to call him. Gavin Isley has 2 more circuits before he could take this heat race win. Would he be able to do it? At this point, it looks pretty clear, but coming into 3 and 4, we'll see if Hilton maybe can get a little bit of a move on, but a half second between them as the white flag comes out.
Have to be the gas man tonight for Gavin Isley. There's no way anybody is going down at catfishing, at least in the qualifying heats here. And Isley goes down the back straightaway, He has a fairly decent advantage on the 3-car of Hilton. Hilton's not going to get close enough to make a move, and Isley will win it over Hilton and Travis Miller.
And the race at the very end is, wow, it went nuts at the end for the beef. Nice little roll, and we're stuck with the second one. And that is going to end the second heat race of the night, but we'll bring Gavin Isley quickly to you, Jonathan, and talk to him before we start heat 3.
Gavin Isley, you got a copy?
I do.
All right, buddy. Talk to us about that drive. Talk to us about locking down the high side of this racetrack so far into the heats.
Just kind of riding out, making sure we didn't make no mistakes there. And Adam was a little bit faster than us, but track really hasn't come in yet. But we'll see how it goes for the next 60-lap feature.
All right, what are you expecting for the feature? Do you think that bottom line's going to come in? They call you the catfish sometimes, or the gas man. I think if you're going to be on the high side, it's going to be the gas man tonight.
I think the outside will be pretty dominant for the first 40 at least, but I don't know. I think the small blocks might come in late, so we'll see.
All right, well, congratulations on the heat win, and good luck in the feature.
Thank you.
And that was the second heat race winner, Gavin Isley. We're going to bring you heat race number 3, and for the rest of the field, this isn't really what they wanted to see. Brandon Plank will be starting on pole with Ryan Susi on the outside in the 38 car. The big show, Randy Giroux, makes his first appearance of the season in car number 24 on the inside of row number 2. He will start beside Joe Matthews in car number 9. Row number 3 on the inside is the bright yellow number 11. That's Zach Bardsley out of Pennsylvania, and Jamie Porter out of Canada in the number 45 beside him. Last row in the last grid of the last heat race of the night is going to be Alan Slight in the Slight Electrical number 2, and Richie Pereira driving his own number 96. They will be the final row on this grid of 8, as they have 8 laps to do it, and heat race number 3 going to be underway out of the corner. And nice start for Susi. Kind of got a little bit of a jump on Plank, and he will lead them into turn number 1.
Plank trying to come back with a slider on the inside, not able to do so. He'll settle into second while the battle's on for third. Giroux down low, trying to keep that 24 car underneath the 9. Not going to be able to make it stick. They'll have to settle into a bit of a 4-car freight train at the front now, with Giroux going to the top, trying to work over the 9-car Matthews, and a whole gaggle of cars behind here, as the bottom 4 in this field are all over each other in a blanket.
5th through 8th, they're all right there beside each other. A little bit of a nudge between Porter and Bardsley, and Jamie Porter is really dropping to the end of this group. He's running the bottom line, and I think that's kind of showing the difference between running up top and running the bottom. He doesn't really have much of a choice, though. He's got Bardsley to his outside, but Slight and Pereira also capitalized and made their own passes. Oh, Bardsley's up on the wall, and off the racetrack goes the number 11.
Bardsley and Porter also running small blocks. Good, important to note that as they're at the back of this pack. We keep an eye on the 11 car who's trying to regain things. Maybe he'll take it out. And back to the front of the field we go with Susi still out front in front of Plank. You know, Susi would love to beat the favorite, as everybody has been chasing Brandon Plank in terms of overall speed this season, and obviously a big winner in the first event we had.
Yeah, Brandon Plank took the first race, the Pete Costco Memorial. That was a $117 payday. And while we aren't having a payday out for the race tonight, Plank's looking for those points. Only 2 races into the season, but hey, every point counts. And even the heat race points as he goes for the race lead, and he's got it. As they come to the stripe, 2 to go, and the 77X is back in the front.
That is the only slide job I've seen work all night so far, and he executed it perfect on Ryan Susi. Susi settles into second now. Matthews sits there in third. Giroux settled into fourth, and 2 laps to go. Does Ryan Susi have what it takes? He looks to the middle groove, inches closer towards Plank, but Plank gets that great run down the back straightaway that the high line gives you. So much speed up there down the front stretch, especially if you're running a big block.
Definitely does, and that's how they bring it to us. Plank, Susi, Matthews, and Giroux, they're all going to get bonus points out of the heat race, but Brandon Plank is going to be the 3rd heat race winner of the night, so they will be the guys who bring you the front row. That will be Plank and Isley, and we will be happy to get them all back together. We're here in the warm-up session before the race, so we can take a quick second to make a shout-out to the people who help us get these broadcasts out to everybody. So with that, we're going to take a quick second here, and we're going to make shout-outs to MDR Designs, Creative Turnings, Jam Performance, the Super Dirt Car Series, Dig Race Products, BRPtv, and the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. We've just gotten word that, so normally with warm-ups, the drivers do not come out onto the racetrack. They try to preserve how young the dirt is out there, to put it that way. However, it has been made call by the officials of the series that we're going to try to work it in a little bit. So everybody's out here to try to put a couple laps together and just get used to the track, get it warmed up, and it should give us better racing in the feature, but not something that normally happens with this series. But I think, Jonathan, honestly, with the way the heat races went, I think this is a good move.
Yeah, definitely the right call, honestly. There's nothing wrong with a little track prep to give us the kind of racing we want. I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was Isley. I think it was our first heat winner who was mentioning the 40 lap mark. Maybe that's where we're going to see things come in, bottom side of this racetrack. Well, if this, sending the field out to run in the top side makes it so maybe the bottom comes in and shows a little bit more speed 20 laps in to the race, that's better for all of us, right? So I'm all for whatever to make the show as good as possible, and especially if we can get that bottom to middle groove working. But I think the biggest thing that we learned from the heats is that the slide job is the move tonight, and it is doable, especially if you're Brandon playing.
Yeah, and I definitely would agree with that, and I definitely will think that as the night goes on, I mean, everybody's going to run the top side, so we're going to age it out, slick it off. And as we do that, what we saw from Gavin Isley on the screen just now is going to be a lot more manageable to run in a little deeper. There's going to be more grip in the middle of the racetrack than the top, and it should give those guys an advantage getting into the turn, that we can see those slide jobs start to be more of a factor, especially by the end of 60 laps, which is a lot of laps. And, I mean, we can just see it in even this warm-up session, how much of a difference we're already starting to make with that.
Yeah, you can see a couple guys going off, too. I think the biggest thing is going to be how do you defeat that big block horsepower down the front stretch. Every car running the top side is obviously going to get a good run on the outside, being able to keep the momentum up, keep that engine wound up, but the big block is just going to give you that much more power going down the long front stretch and back stretch.
Absolutely it is. Let's go on board with somebody. I'll find, where's Dean? Let's go on board with Dean Meitzler. He just got fed a right rear by Adam Hilton, and Travis Miller goes down the inside, but, I mean, we can see the difference in the high line of this racetrack from where we started to where we are now. It's a lot shinier than it was before, Jonathan.
Yeah, definitely, and I think one of the other encouraging things that we just saw was Travis Miller right ahead in this view ran the bottom side of 1 and 2. Now you can see Dean going to maybe a bit more of a middle groove, trying to find speed around this racetrack. You got the drivers using this warm-up session to really figure out where else can I run, where can I make the pass when I absolutely need to.
Yeah, and I think this is going to help the drivers and help the racing, so this is definitely going to be helping us. With a minute left, they still got plenty of time to make a few more laps and get this track worn in. The fastest driver in this group is Tyler Joshimbowski, who was very fast in his own heat race. The thriller Travis Miller, we know he's fast. Cody Higbee, obviously, as well, and Randy Giroux, Dean Reynolds, they make up the top 5 in this little warm-up session, which arguably, Jonathan, could be a better indicator of what we're going to see in the race than the heat races.
Yeah, absolutely, right? The more laps they turn, the more this track changes. So if you're fast now, maybe you're showing a bit more of your hand now as opposed to what you had in qualifying or the heats. For me, I like what I've seen from Joshimbowski because he's been consistent. Same with Miller. They were both running at the front towards the front half of the fields in their qualifying heats. They were both fast in qualifying. So at the end of the day, that's what you want to see. Is you want to see consistency between all the sessions, especially now as the track is aging. And I don't know who this track is going to come towards. That's the other thing. As we see a little bit of tangling there, Dylan Davidson gets bounced into the wall. Oh, chaos in the warm-ups. No driver etiquette here.
Yeah, we're just having fun, and I guess the gloves are off for this session. Jamie Porter sent it back to the hauler to try to get it repaired for the 60 laps for the RKR West Penn 60 tonight. But the session ends, and finally, Jonathan, here we go. We'll pull it over, and we'll get to bring the starting grid. Hopefully, we can get the starting grid this time. And let's reset this grid. It will pop up here in a quick second, so we'll go ahead. I'll start reading them off, and then as everybody gets in their cars and gets on the starting grid, the names will pop up. So Cody Higbee is going to be our pole sitter. He was the guy to win the first heat race. Second on the grid is going to be Gavin Isley. Isley won heat race number 2. Brandon Plank was third, the third heat race winner, and he will start third. And then Tyler Joshimbowski and Adam Hilton will round out the top 5. Ryan Susi will start to the outside of Hilton in car number 38. And as they come out now, the grid should reset itself here, and it will not, so we're going to keep going. Dean Meitzler, Travis Miller, Joe Matthews, Brian Berger, they make up the top 10. Dave DiPetro and Randy Giroux will make up row 6. Row 7 is DeRitter and Beagle. 15th is going to be Slight, and Dylan Davidson will be on the outside of row 8. Then we've got Liam Daniels and Richie Pereira in row 9. Row 10 is Jeff Sharp and Tyler Pachalski. Porter and Cunningham make up row 11 in 21st and 22nd. Pat Reiser, 23rd. 24th is Zach Bardsley, 25th. Dean Reynolds. And the Beef is going to be starting shotgun on the field as we get the 1 to go to start the 60-lap endeavor. Jonathan, what's the call? Do you go straight to the slick stuff at the top, or do you go venturing down to the bottom?
I really think it depends on your track position. If I'm up towards the front, give me that high side. Let me coast for a couple laps, get settled into my rhythm, get settled into the race pace, and then I can start to figure out how to move my way forward. If I'm deeper in the field, I am trying to get all I can while I can before everybody else figures out that the bottom side or the middle side is working. Higbee and Isley on the front row. They are going to see the green this time out of turn number 4. Flag is up, pedals are down, away we go in the West Penn 60. On the inside, Higbee trying to hold off Brandon Plank, who's already gone down low and made a move on Isley for second, and he's looking for more. Look at Plank down on the inside in this 77. Higbee around the outside, and I believe we've got caution on the racetrack already as we got Randy Giroux on the on his roof on the backstretch.
Yeah, Randy Giroux is backwards and upside down, and unfortunately, the guy who is making his debut with the series this season, at least here, he is going to have to pull. Well, that car's going to have to get towed to the pit area, so we are not going to be seeing. We're not going to be seeing him in competition for a minute here. Let's go back to see what happens off of this restart or the start of the race. So here's DeRitter in the orange and purple. DiPetro and Beagle side by side ish with DeRitter, and I think DeRitter is going to be the one. If not, maybe a little love tap from Beagle. Nah, it's DeRitter here.
Yep. Yeah, it was like Randy Giroux, maybe, I think he... Oh, and then here's the 96 really helping to finish the job. But DeRitter, I don't think he realized that 60 car was in front of Giroux, who lifted for that 60 car, and then all of a sudden he finds himself on his roof. So tough break for Randy Giroux, tough start to the evening for him, as... Could have been worse, though. On the initial start of the race, you were almost expecting that to be a multi-car incident.
Yeah, honestly, that could have been a lot worse. So I would definitely give props to the whole field for avoiding making more contact with Giroux than we saw. I mean, Pereira, what do? You don't really have that much time to react to this sort of thing. But he did a pretty good job to keep it at a minimum, and everybody else avoided. So props to the grid. We got that first kind of yellow out of the way. Maybe we'll have more of them. Maybe we won't. We're 4 laps into it now. Caution laps are counting, so that's a factor. The green flag comes back out, and Higbee controls this restart like a strong beast into turn number 1. The Beast of the Northeast, Thunder through 1 and 2, and Plank maybe making the middle work. Isley with him. I think Plank figured something out here.
100%. You can see him work the middle groove. Not quite able to pull the slide job off, though, as Higbee fights back on the outside. Into 1 and 2 now. Isley looking to the middle. Can he shoot the gap? Nope, but Plank, can he clear Higbee? Nope, not quite. Into 3 and 4. Now the 77 is going to slide up. Crossover move coming from Higbee. Back down low goes the 97 as they're still dueling wheel to wheel for the lead. Higbee takes it into turn 1.
And Higbee regains that lead a little more confidently out of turn number 2. Isley going to try to make a move for second place there. And Plank goes back to the bottom side. That kind of defends it a little bit, but Isley catfishes a little further down. He does get a nice run off the corner, but he's just not getting enough to make a full pass. Hilton's just watching all of this happen in front of him. They're 3 wide almost in the middle of the corner, but not quite going for the race lead yet is the at 18 car. I wouldn't wait too long, though, because here he comes, and now we got a race for the lead.
Yep, race 4, the lead is on. Isley down low, trying to make that 18 car stick. Not able to drive up, but I don't think that was his goal. I think he wants to shorten this racetrack, run as low as possible, and travel the least amount of distance around. Higbee uses that power up on the outside to keep it even. Isley still out front. Now looking to clear the 97, and he'll do so. Gavin Isley to the front.
Wow.
Higbee on the outside trying to fight back. So much for my theory that if you're at the front of the field, you're going to just settle into the top side and just race, right?
Yeah, it definitely helped to have that warm-up session. That was a little bit of a curveball even for us in the booth. There's a little bit of a race going on back here inside the top 5 area with Susie and Miller. They're fighting for 5th place. A couple guys go high, a couple guys go low. This is exactly what we wanted to see out of the track. It's a little early in this race to make any big calls on what's going to happen, but, man, it's racy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very, very impressive stuff. I mean, I think right now you almost have to go to the bottom and get all you can while it's hot, because what if they burn out the inside groove and then everybody has to go back to the top side? There's so many things that could be going through these drivers' mind as they're trying to figure out in advance. Oh, we got an issue on the racetrack. Brian Berger involved, and I believe that's the 9 of Matthews also, who was up inside our top 5 not too long ago, top 10 not too long ago in this race, but now finds himself pointed the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's going to be Matthews and Berger backwards, so we're going to go ahead and try to pull a replay of what caused this calamity in turn 1 and 2. Meitzler's going to get a piece of this as we see Jonathan here on the replay. Pulled up. What happened?
Yeah, Matthews not far outside the top 5. I believe that's 6th, maybe 7th place on the racetrack. And it looks like he's going to get tagged there and go around. Berger's going to get a piece of that, and Meitzler as well. And I'm not sure who that other car that was involved was. I believe, was that
Josh Mbowski.
No,
Yeah,
I think it must have been Josh Mbowski, right? I couldn't see the number on it, but I think that must have been Josh Mbowski who actually set that all off by tagging the 9. So it's been an adventurous night for Josh Mbowski, who's now found himself in an incident in the feature and starting one in the heats as well.
Yeah, Tyler Joshambowski, I think he's getting a end-of-line penalty for causing the caution. Rightfully so. I mean, and it's not that he did it on purpose or anything. I mean, it's not his fault. He just got a little bit, went into that corner a little faster than pretty much everybody around him. And unfortunately, when the track slicks off, man, Randy Giroux was gone. Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
But when you get into this part of the race where the track slicks off, you have to be kind of careful. You have to almost match the speed of the guys around you to avoid that sort of thing. And it's hard to do, especially, with a video game. So Josh Mbowski just a little bit ahead of himself into that corner. No fault of his own, really. And unfortunately, it's going to send Berger and Matthews around. But, hey, we're not even a third of the way into this race. There's plenty of time for things to happen and things to change. And he's got a lot of strong guys around him, but, I mean, he was fastest in warm-up as the green flag comes back out. Definitely that is a factor as we continue on in the West Penn 60.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of work to do, but obviously has the car capable of doing it tonight. Isley back out in front, in control of this one. Plank settling into second, but under fire from Higbee now as Higbee tries to go back up to the top 2 spot. Side by side from second and I believe that's the 4th and 5th cars as well that are side by side. Everybody chasing Isley, but look at this whole blanket of cars here through 3 and 4. Up on the high side, you see Plank, you see Hilton and Miller, and then down low trying to work the very bottom of this racetrack. I believe that's, the Ryan Susie 38 machine now working his way up inside the top 5, as I believe Higbee might have had a moment and there might be caution on the racetrack.
I believe we do.
Is.
Yeah, I believe we have a yellow out here, and I think it's on Pat Reiser, but the yellow comes out and we will have to re-rack him and restack him. I don't think we're going to get a replay here because he was off screen, but the yellow comes out a third of the way into this race, and that is going to shake things up a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's going to shape things up too much because Isley's been controlling these restarts, and it just doesn't seem like the bottom's losing enough grip and age that the top's coming back at least quickly. I know we got 40 laps left, but it seems kind of dominant right now after we've lost the top a little bit more. And, man, Isley, great run from Isley with the bottom at the start of this race.
Yeah, he's really figured this thing out and how to control things from that bottom side, even using the top side, really. Isley can go anywhere so far with that 18 machine, and right now he looks like the car to beat. track position is very, very key tonight.
Definitely is, and I think controlling the restarts, which is something that even at Volusia last week was a big part of the show. Pretty much what could win Brandon Plank that race at the end, especially with the yellows that sort of started coming together at the end of the Pete Costco Memorial. Being able to control this one is going to be crucial for Gavin Isley, but I think what's even more crucial than that is going to go to the guy starting on his outside, because Higbee's going to be starting up where there's less grip. So he'll try to crowd Isley, no doubt, into the sort of the cleaner areas of the exit of turn 4. That turn does get pretty gross when you're running this track, especially with these big blocks. So he'll crowd him down a little bit. The green flag will come back out. And, well, it's got 26 big blocks back underway here in Lernerville.
Yeah, it was another excellent start. Textbook stuff from Isley, who jumps out in front of this field. And the battle is on behind Isley for second. You can see up on the high side, Higbee. And now look at Ryan Susie, almost gets a piece of Isley, as Susie is up to the second spot now using the bottom side. And Higbee has actually moved down the racetrack, gotten off that very top side, and he goes to the middle groove. Be interesting to see through 3 and 4. Yep, Higbee goes right back up top. So does Plank. Down low, it's Hilton, Susie, and everybody chasing Gavin Isley.
We got some nice battles going on all over the racetrack, and we'll go back into the mid-pack a little bit. Joe Matthews, Zach Bardsley. Oh, contact there. Contact with Bardsley, and he keeps it under control, but he's got Pachalski and DePetro going through. We've got a little bit of a love tap. They stay all together. Man, there's a lot of race cars in a small... Oh, Pachalski. Oh, we were two-wheeling it in turn 4, and he keeps it under control. Cunningham right there gets a little piece of the 21 car. They stay straight, and we stay green. But, man, they're getting racy in the mid-pack.
Travis, keep that Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast car looking clean, buddy. Come on. Yeah, it's definitely wild how in the mid-pack and the back of the pack, there is not much room to negotiate anything. The field, as much as we thought it might be a one-lane racetrack, that track prep showing to be the right call. People fighting for the inside groove, outside groove, passes left, right, and center. As you can see the battle here between the 71 of Daniels as well as the 03 of DeRitter up on the high side. DeRitter going to settle back into the inside groove, try a crossover now on the 71 of Daniels. Great stuff from Liam Daniels as he's marching through the field. And I believe, I don't think we ever got confirmation on that. Did we get a confirmation that Liam Daniels is in a small block tonight?
Liam is actually in a big block tonight, but I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Jonathan, because that driver he's racing with, I think we got trouble with the 22 car. Yep, we got trouble.
Oh no, Miller.
Miller is upside down. I think this is going to be a yellow. And what a deal. That guy was doing so well. We'll come back to the story about Cheese and the pace truck was airborne coming out of the pits there. Oh, Josh Mbowski's upside down too.
He just wanted to go and give a little stunt roll in front of his pal. Oh, and then somebody's going to help him out. Maybe that was what Josh Mbowski was trying to do, is to get Miller rated up onto all 4 wheels once again. As you can see, Miller Light starting to drive away. Yeah,
that's probably what he was going for. He wanted somebody to come help him so he didn't have to tow back to the pits. So get a little love tap from somebody, put it on all 4s, and get back underway here. We'll try to pull up a replay of what happens to Travis Miller in the corner. And he's going to come into the turn behind Hilton. And then I think he's going to lose it. Yep, there goes that rear tire. And see you later, Travis.
Yeah, tough break. And then I wonder where he goes over, because he's okay here. Looks like he's not in trouble. And then does he maybe come out in front of some traffic? Oh, no, he just bicycles it himself up and over after stuffing it in the fence. Tough break for Travis there to make that. I don't even know if that's a mistake you can really blame on him. I think that's just maybe misreading the racetrack there, trying to get back to the green.
Yeah, he just put it kind of upside down on his own there. I don't know. I mean, the racetrack, so that part of the track is still tacky like it is a portion of the racetrack in the game. And, I mean, he was turning the wheel and hit the brakes, but, yeah, definitely. Before that, even a tough break for Travis Miller to get up over the berm, and he's one of the first guys in this feature to do it. So he's going to be starting from the tail again as we're coming back to the green flag. But we get this green flag, and as we do it, I'll cut back and we'll watch Matt DeRitter off the start, because the big point to make here, Liam kind of missed the bottom there and causes a little bit of a traffic jam in the corner. DeRitter is running a small block, Liam and Meitzler, who gives him a big shove, are both in big blocks. So now we're starting to see that the small block actually almost might be an advantage.
Yeah, DeRitter's definitely got it figured out, and I know we talked to him pre-race off air, and he was kind of a little bit concerned as we've got Bardsley around now in the 11 car, and that'll bring out yet another yellow flag. I think there's a second car also involved in that one. They were stacking up pretty early on in this one. It's tough racing in full contact racing tonight as we see another yellow flag just early in this one, and we'll see what happens here as Meitzler, I think, may have been the starting point of all this. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, so we're watching with Bardsley. We're 3 wide with Porter and Giroux, and then we're going to hit this corner, and at some point we're going to see where Jeff Sharp becomes a factor in this. Slight and Meitzler contact. He's behind Sharp. Sharp is going to go into Meitzler and Bardsley into Sharp, and then we're pirouetting. Nice ballet on the front stretch. Beef gets a little piece of it, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he netcoded through the 11 car. Sharp ends up upside down. Bardsley stays on all fours. He does not have to tow back to the pits, so he will hold his position on the track, or at least hold on to the end of it. I think Sharp's okay. I think he got a fast repair, so he's in line and ready to go for the restart. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. There's just not a lot of racing room at the back of this field. Bardsley, another one of those guys that is in a small block tonight. We mentioned DeRitter. We'll see how far Matt can advance through this field. Like I was saying just before that caution, he really had started putting in some work on the small block program. He's running back-to-back small blocks to open the season, and it seems like it's paying off for him so far, because I believe he is the highest running small block in the field currently.
You are actually, you know what? Ryan Beagle is in front of him now, so while we were...
big dog, of course.
Yeah, we were watching DeRitter kind of get things figured out. We weren't noticing Ryan Beagle kind of slip up in there, and he is trying to fight into the top 5 in the restart. We went single file this time because of how quickly we got the yellow after that other restart. Man, the guys are starting to go into the grass now, and this is going to be the fun part. They're getting so low into the corner that they want to hit the tacky areas that they're going to kind of drag the front left tire over the grass at the bottom of the racetrack. Something that at least I've experienced with iRacing. You can do this with a couple of the cars in the game, and I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Jonathan.
Yeah, they're definitely searching for all the grip they can, looking for that rotation through the corners. And how about the big dog? Ryan Beagle up to 6th place in that small block. He is the highest running small block driver right now as it stands. Starting to get a little bit spaced out amongst our top 5. Definitely not the crazy tight racing that we saw early in this one, as 42 laps are in on this one. 42 in, 18 to go. Who is going to be the main challenger to Gavin Isley? That is the question that we are looking for an answer to right now.
I think we've got another yellow, and I think it's going to go between Double D and Joe Matthews. They were the 2 cars going slow, and let's go ahead and try to pull up this replay yet again. I know we've kind of used it a couple times here, but let's see what happens to... Oh, and Brian Berger's going to get a piece of this as well. Jonathan, what happened?
Well, we got Matthews working underneath DeRitter. You can see in front of them, that is the 60 of Berger, and I think Berger's actually going to get sideways here with maybe a little bit of help from the 0-3. Yeah, just the tiniest bit of help, and then everybody piling in there. Nowhere for Matthews to go. He's going to go over on his lid and get it landed on all fours, and that is the main cause of the caution. Just a little bit of a love tap there from DeRitter, and then Berger finds himself sideways, and Matthews finds himself on his lid.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Joe Matthews. That's not his first incident of the night, but I think he should probably get away from that one okay. I don't think there's going to be too much to worry about. It was a pretty slow roll for the 9 car, so we're back to trying to get some green flag laps in here. We are 3/4 of the way through it. 45 of 60 laps will be complete at the stripe, and I think we're going to go single file for the restart again. We had a really good restart when they went single file last time, so Higbee maybe not as happy about it because he is starting directly behind his main competitor for this race win. However, should keep them in line a little nicer and keep it a little cleaner as we go back to green flag racing. Isley leads us into turn number 1, RKR West Penn 60. We've got 46 of those 60, and Higbee maybe trying to see if the top side's starting to come back. It's almost even-ish, maybe?
Yeah, there's going to need to be a little bit more speed if Higbee wants to make the pass, though. It looks like, yes, they're even, but as we go on board with Cody Higbee, who's right on the edge of that cushion, he's going to have to find a way to keep that throttle down and use that big block power down the front stretch and back stretch here, especially if Isley's going to keep cutting these corners on the bottom side. You can see he's reeling him in. All he needs really is green flag run, and then maybe we can see a pass for the lead just on that outside. But Gavin Isley just so smooth down low. You can see out the front of this race car as we've got another caution, I believe, on the racetrack. Yeah, that iRacing pace truck, it's going for some off-roading. It's trying to maybe audition to be in a trophy truck series.
Yeah, I think so. I think this goes to Beef. Yeah, I think this is going to go to Beef, causing this yellow. And we'll see. We'll pull a replay up of the number 88 car, and we'll just take a quick peek and see if he is the cause of this. Oh, yeah, he's involved. He is definitely involved in this incident. He's 3 wide, Jonathan.
Yeah, he's involved, but I don't think he's actually where this incident actually starts. As you can see, we got the ISO cam on the Beef here. It goes through 3 and 4, and there is one car making contact sideways and around and into Beef. Tough break there.
Pat just messed that up there a little bit, didn't it? Just got it all on his own.
A little bit of damage to the outside. I can't see that car number there. Is that the 90? Is that Travis?
That is Pat Reiser right there in
That's
the
Pat Reiser. Okay.
Yeah, so he kind of lost it on his own in the middle of the corner. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that we've gotten this far in without somebody doing that, just because of how much use the track gets. But Pat Reiser just a little bit on his own, and unfortunately caught up Beef, and everybody else kind of has to avoid the contact. We're going to be under 10 laps to go at the restart here, and Cody Higbee is going to have a chance because we're going double file again at the restart, and Isley and Higbee are going to be trying their best. 9 laps to go at the stripe. Plank and Susie still lurking. Beagle and Hilton there too. Greens comes back out. We're back underway.
Yeah, great start there from Plank as he goes down low. Higbee's up on the high side, but he's fallen under fire from both Plank and Susie. Plank's going to clear the 97 of Higbee, and he'll go to the top side here to make a challenge against Isley, but Isley's got that low side working. They're almost 4 wide up off of corner number 4 into turn 1 now. Higbee goes to the bottom side. Plank's on the outside, and here comes Brandon Plank.
Yeah, Plank's finding a little bit of grip up top, and he is going to make a charge for second. Higbee goes to the bottom, and there goes the 77 car. Isley, I hear somebody hitting the wall. I think we're just getting a little bit aggressive on that wall down the front stretch as now Plank puts the power down. Higbee follows. Man, they are just flirting with the edge of that berm right now. Isley's still holding the bottom, catfishing. Susie's trying to stay in the middle, maybe find a little extra grip nobody else has so far. Isley with 5.5 laps now at the end of the back straightaway. He holds the lead, but just barely. Plank and Higbee are trying to find a little extra momentum, and I think it's going to go back into the favor of the top here soon.
I think it already has. I think Gavin Isley's maybe waited a little bit too long. If I'm Gavin Isley, I'm moving up in front and covering off Brandon Plank. Wherever he is running, that is where I want to run and make sure that I've got a chance to block his moves, because you can see Plank is closing and now drawing even at the stripe and down the back straightaway. He might be able to pull alongside and maybe even gain some more ground. Isley really committed to the bottom side, but Plank and Higbee right there on the top side as we are seeing 3 laps to go at the stripe now. And
3 laps
a pass for the lead.
There's a pass into the corner. Plank got it. There's a nice battle in the middle of the pack here too. Slight and Berger as Plank has covered off Isley. He goes back to the top. Isley's going to try to go back to the bottom, and Isley's going to pull even as the yellow flag comes out. And that is going to take all of the momentum out of all of these cars. And it is the thriller Travis Miller who is going to bring us another yellow flag.
Wow, what a shootout we are going to see now. Let's see what happens to Travis Miller here first. Trying to work his way back up through the field after being in the top 5 and having a little bit of a contact, a little bit of an incident there. Trying to make a hole maybe on the outside of Matt DeRitter that wasn't there, and he goes for a wild ride, and that is definitely caution worthy for Travis Miller. Definitely the thriller on that particular caution, but Travis Miller up on the lid with the 22 there. Tough break for him on what was a very promising night for the 22.
Yeah, that was a promising start to the night, and things unfortunately have kind of unraveled. 2 incidents, sort of on his lonesome both times, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and he did earn his nickname, the Thriller, tonight with 2. Well, the first one wasn't super vicious, but the second one definitely was. 2 pretty significant flips. The pace truck getting back out in front of everybody on the grid. We won't end the race under yellow, but we're going to extend it so that we don't, because we've hit 60 laps on the track, and they're going to go double file back up here. Isley's going to have a chance. Plank is now the leader, and Higby's back there behind him. Jonathan, this is, I think, the first time in a while that Plank's seeing clean air in front of him. Does that make a difference?
I think it absolutely makes a difference. The interesting thing here is putting Isley up on the top side, which we haven't seen Gavin Isley use the top lane until maybe the early portions of this race. But as we come back to green, Brandon Plank gets a fantastic restart. Look at that, jumping out in front of the field, and Isley gonna go to the top side. Does he have anything for him? Brandon Plank using that middle groove, low groove, driving away from Gavin Isley. Joe, take us home.
Well, white flag is not going to come out, unfortunately. We were just about to take it, too. But we go,
Yeah, that was close.
And you know who it is? It's your buddy on the podcast. Travis Cunningham's going to be the one.
No, Travis.
Unfortunately, that is going to go to the 90 car for bringing out the yellow that we almost got this race finished up with. But here we go into it. I wouldn't blame him. Look at this slew of cars.
Oh, yeah, he tangles there with DeRitter, actually. And Matt has found himself in a big chunk of tonight's action, whether he wants to be or not. And, yeah, tough break for Travis and for Matt DeRitter there. And we are going to get another 2-lap shootout here to settle it.
Yeah, we'll try it again. And I don't know what's going to happen to Cunningham and DeRitter because it's very late in this one. But there's Plank, there's Isley. And the pace truck's still out on the track. The lights are going to go out on it this time, and we will hopefully get the last 2 laps in of this race. It's been, it hasn't been too long. Fortunately, with the caution laps being counted, this race has gone by pretty quickly and gotten us to the climax. They're going to go single file on this restart, though, Jonathan. So that's definitely not going to be helping Isley, although if they go to different lines on the track, maybe gives him a chance for a nice slider into turn 1.
You know, I almost would argue that it does give Gavin Isley a little bit of a chance, because now that Plank fires, Isley's going to be able to stay right in his tire tracks just like that, and at least maybe set himself up to go to the bottom on this restart, which is exactly what Isley does. Brandon Plank not driving away from Isley because Isley gets that bottom groove back. We'll see into 3 and 4 if Isley can pressure Plank into a mistake, maybe find some daylight underneath him as they head into 1 and 2 on the final lap.
Last time around the track, Higby trying to make something work on the top side of the racetrack. Nothing but momentum for him. Brandon Plank is holding on in front of the Catfish into 3 and 4. Higby's starting to find something up top. Will it work? Isley digs way low, and Brandon Plank will hold on. But Cody Higby puts something together, and he will go to second and stand there on the podium as the rest of the field comes through. Brandon Plank's going to go back-to-back to start this season. And what a way to do it for the RKR West Penn 60. Brandon Plank is the winner. Cody Higby second, Gavin Isley third. We'll get to talk to those guys. But, man, Jonathan, Higby found something at the very end.
Yeah, that was impressive stuff on that outside. It was almost like Plank and Isley were so committed to battling on that inside groove that Higby said, all right, well, I'm going to sail it in on the outside and make it stick, and got the 97 up to P2 in the end there. And I got to give a call to Isley, too, because he really made it close for Plank, and at the end of the day kept it clean as well, which is a good sign of car control from Gavin Isley.
Yeah, very, very impressive run the whole way through. I mean, we know him as the Catfish and the Gas Man, and he has to go back and forth between the two of them. Tonight, he did have to go to the catfish mode as he started off the night with the gas man. It didn't quite work all the way, but hey, Brandon Plank, he figured out what he needed to do, Jonathan. We're going to send it to you. He's the race winner tonight, and here he comes. 2 wins in a row.
Brandon Plank, you got a copy.
Yes, you got me?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Congratulations on 2 in a row in that 77 car. Just talk to us about, 11 laps led. Not necessarily a dominant performance, but a consistent one at that, falling as low as 5th place and hanging around to be there in the end when it mattered.
Yeah, I caught some cautions kind of bad. I kind of lost the spot, and then the caution came right out, so I kind of was trickling backward. I was a little bit worried. The top was really, really thin and technical. And, Gavin had kind of committed to the bottom. So I tried to get a run the best I could and work. And then finally try to clear him getting in and, into one and try to get down to the bottom. It was a really good race.
Did you ever consider chasing Isley on the bottom side, or were you committed to that top side for that speed?
Yeah, it's more for momentum. It's so tough to kind of follow somebody around and make any move, especially without getting into them. It seems like in the game, especially if you get kind of too crossed up behind them, you really don't have to touch them too hard to turn them around. So that's why I kind of just tried to build up as much momentum as I could around the top and try to finally kind of clear them. Like I said, getting into one there. So wasn't looking to really try to follow them around the bottom because I knew that the momentum was probably going to get me past myself. So yeah, just had to try to get by him, and he was ultra smooth. He was really tough to get by.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go on this one, buddy. Back-to-back wins to start the year. Where is your confidence level at, and how are you feeling about chasing a championship?
Yeah, I hope I can make all the races, but yeah, it's fun to get on here, and these guys race so clean, especially up towards the front. And these guys are good racers in real life too. With Gavin, and it was racing with Ryan in the heat race there, and Cody Higby's a great wheel himself. So it's cool to get on here and race with guys that are really good in real life. So hopefully we can keep it up, and try to get another one next week.
Well, congratulations, my friend. That is Brandon Plank. Back-to-back wins to open the BRP iRacing League season. Congratulations, Brandon.
Thanks.
And next up on the list, a guy who I'm very curious to hear how the race ended for him because he figured something out at the very end. Cody Higby, this is Joe Donahue with BRPtv. You got me, bud?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Beautiful, Cody. Well, hey, you put a hell of a run together. It didn't quite work to the win, but you did get a snooker on the very last lap, and just talk us through that. I mean, you had to really dig up top to find something.
Man, I'll tell you what, that was a really fun race with these guys. There's nothing like running with the best of the best, and it's always fun running with Brandon and Gavin, and I really thought I had something good for them, but I really didn't need that double file restart at the end there. That's how Brandon got by me, but man, just great job to those guys. It was really fun.
And talk us through the whole race, because you started up front and you ran up front, and the track changed a lot and you kept up with it pretty much the whole way. I mean, you did keep up with it, but just talk about what were the real struggles of the race tonight, and what evidently causes everything to change so much for you that some of these guys kind of figured some ways to snooker you too.
Yeah, the line's always changing here, which makes it such a fun track. The bottom's pretty good early, but as it goes on, the top kind of comes back in, and there's kind of a ledge up there, so it made it really fun to run up there.
And talk to me about what this does with your championship run, and especially coming off of last week, which was, I guess you got the bad luck out of the way to start this season, because it didn't go very well for you at Volusia, but tonight kind of more back in the Cody Higby form.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm kind of hoping for, that I kind of threw my luck away right away. And, it's just reassuring to get a run like this. Just hope we can keep it up.
And tell us, who do you have to thank and shout out here for everything put together and getting that bad luck out of the way and getting yourself second place tonight?
I just want to thank everybody that puts this on. It's an awesome deal, and I'm just happy to be running this.
Hey, well, we're happy to have you, Cody. Congratulations on a second-place run. First podium of many this season, I hope. Congratulations.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And there is Cody Higbee, ends up second place tonight in car number 97, and we'll go ahead and bring in the final driver on the podium. They call him the Gas Man. They call him the Catfish. Tonight they're calling him third place. Jonathan, it's Gavin Isley.
Gavin Isley, it's Jonathan Howe up in the BRP TV booth. You got a copy?
I do.
All right, Gavin, talk to us about. I feels weird to say a disappointing third place, but at times it really felt like you were the man to beat tonight.
Yeah, we were really good early on. I wasn't really expecting the bottom to be as fast as it was, but we took advantage of it, and it worked really good till it didn't. And Brandon played it out very well, got a run on me, and blocked my advance underneath him. And that end last lap kind of sucked, but it was still a good run overall.
Still a great run. I gotta ask, do you wish that maybe you went to the top side to cover that spot off and cover off Brandon, or by that point in the race you were just so committed to the bottom that's what you were used to running, there was no changing for you?
Only problem I had with that is I didn't know if I was going to be able to hold the outside like our belts, because I didn't run up there the whole race. I wasn't really comfortable. It worked for the lap. I ran up there once for that caution, but still felt better on the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you brought it home third. It was a great run. A lot of laps led tonight, and you never dropped to lower than third in this race. So lots to hang your head on. And who do you want to thank for a great run tonight?
I'd like to Performance Automotive and James Normoil for doing our wraps here, and you guys for streaming this, and Corby for putting this all together.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a great run, Gavin Isley. Joining the BRP TV booth after a third place run tonight.
Thank you.
And what a show we had, Jonathan. I was kind of surprised. There are a couple of things that surprised me tonight, and I think you could definitely attest to some of them. The warm-up caught me off guard, but in the best way possible. The cautions counting, that was probably a big factor in the way the racing went tonight. And just kind of the way that the top, I mean, especially that the bottom came in at all, but that the top at the end especially kind of came back to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. That warm-up session, as much as it surprised us, that is something to even remember when you go to your local dirt track. That track prep crews, they know best, and sometimes they got to spend some time to dial in the track so they can get the best show out of the drivers and the racetrack. And tonight we definitely got a fantastic show, lots of grooves, lots of passing, drivers able to move up through the field, whether they were in small blocks, big blocks, and of course more than our fair share of yellows and wild incidents as well. So we had a lot packed into 60 laps for sure.
100% we did. And we can go ahead and bring you the final results of the race here. Brandon Plank is your winner at the end. He didn't lead all the laps, but he led enough of them, and he led the one that mattered the most. He comes home first in front of Cody Higbee, who gets his first podium of the season. And Gavin Isley finished second at Volusia. He ends up third tonight in Lernerville. Ryan Susi with a great run in fourth place. He's actually one of those guys that we were watching to see if he could maybe cut into top fives and top tens this season after not so much last season. Fourth place ain't too bad. Ryan Beagle, the top running small block modified at the end of this one, and with a top five, I would say he used that one of 8 very wisely. Liam Daniels is going to come home in 6th, so he will beat out the Beef, his brother, in the brother versus brother Daniels battle. Brian Berger is going to get himself a top 10, very solid run for the driver of the 60 car. Tyler Joshimbowski, not too bad in 8th place. He maybe could have done a little better, but unfortunately caught up in some stuff. Alan Slight with a nice run into the top 10 in the 2 car. I believe that's almost 2 in a row, but he didn't get it out of Volusia. Could have had it maybe there, but at least he gets one tonight. Dean Meitzler, Pennsylvania driver, is going to round out the top 10, so not too bad on home soil. Gerandy Giroux is going to come home in 11th in the 24 car. Good start to the season, at least in his running. Jamie Porter 12th, Dean Reynolds 13th, Dave DiPetro 14th, Joe Matthews 15th, Double D 16th, Tyler Pachalski in 17th, 18th is another Pennsylvanian, Zach Bardsley, Pat Reiser in 19th, The Teach in car number 33, and the Beef gets 20th. The final 6 on the grid, Adam Hilton, Jeff Sharp, Richie Pereira, Matt DeRitter, Travis Cunningham, and Travis Miller. Not a good night to be named Travis, Jonathan. A little bit of poor luck going to those guys at the end of the show. and unfortunately, they're not going to get many points out of it. At least we do have a drop week when the points standings come together, but not really wanting to use that up too quickly. Unfortunately, Travis are probably looking at using a bye week, drop points in the second week of the season.
Yeah, that's tough to put yourself in this position already, but there are worse things, you know. If this is the worst night of your year, then it ultimately doesn't really matter, right? That's kind of the mindset you got to have, is that every week be a little bit better and you'll be fine. And yeah, tough break for those two at the end of this race. Matt DeRitter also a tough break because he was running pretty well in that small block tonight, and that finish not indicative of his performance throughout most of the 60 laps.
Very much so. So we want to bring it back together with RKR. We want to thank them for coming on to the race tonight. They are an Integra supplier, VP fuel supplier. They assemble race cars. They do it all. Western PA and Ohio area. And you can go hit them up on Facebook about more on them. We want to thank all of our own partners with this series for helping us. That is MDR Designs, Jam Performance, Creative Turnings, the Super Dirt Car Series, Dig Race Products, BRPtv, obviously the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, on behalf of Jonathan as well. And Jonathan, I don't know, man. I mean, I really enjoyed tonight. I really enjoyed Volusia as well, but I-55 next week, for what you may know about it, I mean, I'm excited for. I'm really revving to get to I-55 with these cars.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. And again, I think it's going to be very interesting to see if anybody chooses that small block. What does a guy like Matt DeRitter do, who's chosen the small block back-to-back weeks, but obviously he's going to need to put in a good run next week. Does he finally jump on the big block wagon? That's the most compelling part of this whole series, is where to use those 8 races. That was a great point you made about the big dog Ryan Beagle, who gets a top 10 solid run in a small block tonight, looking like a genius for making that pick. And that's the storyline I'm chasing into I-55. Is where is this the track to use the small block? And eventually we're gonna get a race where there's more small blocks than big blocks, and I feel like I-55 could be it. I don't know.
I definitely think so. It's a shorter track, and it's in the start of the season. Everybody's kind of revving to get those small block races over with, and that's why a lot of the field used them tonight. But Ryan Beagle, he was really the only one that made it work well, but he really did make it work well, and I think it proves something going into the rest of the season, and especially when we come back to Lernerville in, well, a couple months. But anyway, that is going to be the RKR West Penn 60. We want to thank everybody for watching along. It's been a blast to have you here on the stream. I know we had a lot of people here from RKR watching along, some people from all over the country and some of the local dirt tracks in Pennsylvania, in Canada, in New York, everywhere. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with Jonathan and I to represent the BRP iRacing series. In 1 week's time, we will go to I-55. That's going to be a good time, so be sure you set a reminder. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Hit the notification button, because I think it's going to be a doozy. More so maybe even than the first 2 races of the season. I don't want to jinx it, but hey, until then, Joe Donahue, Jonathan Howe, this is BRPtv and the BRP iRacing series. Thank you so much for your support and for watching tonight, and we will see you on the flip side in 1 week's time.